Welcome to the Home of Misfits podcast, where normal is optional, masks are unnecessary, and you belong. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Home of the Misfits. And I'm your host, Sabina, and today I am with a really good friend of mine, John Thunderheart. I love that name. I just love it. I just love it. You know.
And it's funny, on the title, on the invitation, it says Jin,
I know,
J-I-H-N.
I saw that. I laughed.
So
I was
I'm
like,
actually a Jin. I'm also a Jin. So what is the wish you want? And be careful what you ask for. No.
ooh, where do I begin?
No, I do not do table dances.
Darn it.
Since my knee
Ah,
injury became dangerous. I'm okay.
darn. There goes that. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on to the real topic.
I know, right? Tell us a little bit about you, John. Who are you? What do you do?
Oh God. Am I? Well,
I
that's
mean,
one of
other
the
than
questions.
awesome and amazing and,
Yeah,
all of
well,
those
yeah.
things.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So now I'll have to start with something different. Uh,
Starting over.
who am I? That's such a hard question to really answer because anytime I meet new people, have new conversations, I'm not the same as I was before. Um, let's just say I'm a person who works with spirit and is a instrument of that energy of God, of love, of peace, as best I can in a human body.
I love that. And you do it
Um,
well. I mean, it's like I met you. How did I meet you?
oh God, it's been a long time. I
It's
don't
been
know.
so
I don't
long. It's been
remember.
like lifetimes ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like you used to do the drumming circle here at the
Yeah,
Full Moon Drumming Circle in Garden of the Gods, and
right,
it's amazing. So many people's like, "Oh my gosh, I missed that. What happened?" And I tell them the short version of it. Um,
right.
you also do card readings, but
Yeah, I do.
not in a traditional sense. Not like what people would think is like you go to a card reader or something. They use one card of decks. I mean,
Right.
one deck of cards. you know.
Yes, yeah.
You
And
use so many different ones.
I've got, I think, 15 or 16 on my table, different decks.
Right.
But but that's only part of it. It's because I tap into spirit. I'm not just reading the deck. I start like holding the hands of people and I get information and I see, hear, and feel things and stuff. And then I start with that. And then I have the person, after I'm done with what spirit wants to tell them right up front, is to pick, you know, several cards depending on the length of the reading that's going on.
Right.
And nine times out of 10, what I've said beforehand when the card's turned over, and some of the cards don't have any meanings written on them, and some of them do have a lot written on them. And when I turn them over, I'll say eight or nine times out of 10, what I had already spoken to about after holding their hand was written almost verbatim sometimes what was on one of the cards that they chose out of all
Mhm.
those different decks. Now they're not picking from the top. I tell them to, they can if they want, but I tell them to dig in. You can spread them out and put your hand over them, and if you feel something, you pull that card, or you can just reach over and grab it. And I tell people there's no right or wrong on how to
Right.
do it. If you pick everything from the top, you're still going to get the message.
Hmm.
Even if that card, they'd have me sit down and look at it, and then they would allow me to interpret it other than what the meaning of the card is in the book. I don't use the book unless I'm told to.
Right.
So a lot of times, so well, I know what the meaning of that card is, and I tell them something different. Well, that's not what the book says, and I said, well, I don't really go by the book unless I'm told to go by the book. I give you the meaning that they want me to interpret it as.
Hmm.
Like if it has an animal on the deck, the animal in the shamanic traditions have different attributes. And, I would talk about the different attributes, but I'd be also looking at other parts that are shown in the card. They'd be saying, okay, this is what this means for this person and so forth.
Hmm.
So some readings can be very similar to other people who pulled the same cards, but they're not going to be identical
Right.
because the person's not identical. They have
Right.
different, you know, variations of experience. So, you
Mm,
know, I used to do straight mediumship, where Uncle Joe would come through. And then when I had a spinal injury and, it kind of short circuited how I perceived things because of the severity of the injury.
right.
Spirit works around it.
Yeah,
And
it's
they,
amazing how they work with people.
yeah. And that's how I ended up starting using cards because someone gave me cards. I had two of my ex-wife's cards decks, and I didn't do readings with them. I actually had them on a table. I wanted to look at them. I brought them with me because I figured because I wasn't doing readings at one of the fairs I was doing. I was doing healing work
Hmm.
and personal meditation and light body activation. And the person sat down and said, "I want a reading with those cards," and I meant to take them off the table, but I didn't. I
Right.
forgot. And the person wouldn't leave until I gave them a reading.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
yeah, and I mean they were stubborn, and I said, I'm not doing readings,
And yet here you
and
are.
then yet here I am, because I've done mediumship readings since I was in my early 20s,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I was
doing
going to
spirit.
ask you when did it start? When did you realize that you have those gifts?
It was Well, what woke me up that something peculiar, very peculiar happened when I was about 18 or 9, I think it was 19 years old,
Hmm.
when I had the vision of an assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. And it was very in depth. I got, vehicle, license plate number, country, street signs, types
Wow,
of
we'll have chills.
weapons, what they were wearing. I even had serial numbers on from some of the weapons and so forth. And I didn't know what to do. And I had just, like 2 weeks prior, listened to a radio show with a psychic medium on it in New York. That's where I'm from.
Hmm.
And the medium he's the most tested psychic. His name's George Anderson. Um, there was a Catholic priest on one of the shows, and they had a physicist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, parapsychologist. They had all these people testing him. Not all simultaneously, but on this show, I think they had two or three of those there.
Hmm.
Um, a Catholic priest said, I agreed. And I mean, he goes, I believe that this guy's the real deal, because he told myself and my sister something that no one knew except us two. And this is
Hmm.
this is pre-internet. This is pre-cell phone.
Long time ago.
A long time ago. Yes. So I figured if a Catholic priest who happened to be in head of diocesan television in New York, um, I should maybe try to get a hold of him and pass the message on to him, and he can tell the
Right.
priest.
Hmm.
Uh, so I kind of wangled I called up the station when I got back because I was at the time visiting my brother in Manhattan, Kansas. He was going to Kansas State,
Hmm.
and I called up the radio station to find out when that psychic was going to be on again. It was 3 months later, and I went down to the radio station and wangled my way in, not telling them why I was there. I just said I would like to be a member of the studio audience type of thing. And
Okay.
it was an ordeal to get in, but they let me in.
Oh, nice.
And I cornered him on a break, and I passed it on, and his mouth dropped. He said I had exactly the same one. Stay after the show. We're all going out to eat to a diner in New York. You go in 24 hours. The show was midnight to 2 a.m.
Mm.
So around 3:30 in the morning, we went to the diner, and but he said you had a gift. I want to start, you know, training you. He goes, meet me at St. Kilian's Church on Monday night for novena, and then after that, you follow me back to my apartment, and then I'm going to start working with you. So for the
Oh,
next six
wow.
years, he mentored me, and that was the start. But then,
So that
after,
wasn't really a subtle thing. That was more like the universal two by four. Doing, pay
oh
attention.
yeah, that was a 2x4. But I did have experiences growing up, which I didn't realize were experiences until
Hmm.
later. Until I was a young adult.
Okay.
in my 20s, 12 years old, I think I was, when a great uncle who used to stay with us growing up every year for a couple of months, he was lived in Bermuda,
Mm-hmm.
and he came to me and said goodbye when I was sleeping. Woke up and I sat there and I was like, no, 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 and I kind of compelled to go up, went across into my parents' bedroom, and as soon as my hand hit the phone rang,
Oh,
and there was
wow.
an English woman on the other end, and she said, and I said, he's not dead, he's not dead, he's not dead. And she said, I've just, is Richard there, which is my dad? And and I said, no, he's not home. And I didn't know that because I was sleeping and he wasn't home. But it turned out she was his caretaker. She went to check on him and he had passed away. But he
Mm-hmm.
said goodbye to me. He came into my dream and said goodbye because I was close with him.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have chills. I mean, yeah, this is amazing. And I know there's a lot of our listeners, or viewers that can relate. There's like something happened, and they just don't know where to put it, or they've shared it with something and got poo-pooed on, you know.
Well, that happens a lot. Even growing up, you have incidences like, the imaginary friend that some people have. Well,
Right.
a lot of these kids are seeing spirits, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not all, but I'd say a vast majority are interacting with another dimension. I'll put it that way.
Right. Well, plus it's like when we're young, when we come into this experience, we still remember a few things from before we came here, and it's just as we get older, we forget more and more,
Yes.
so but it's like I love the work that you and I do. We help people remember. Essentially, that's all we do is we help people remember.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So,
like tonight, like I was mentioning earlier off camera, that I'm doing a sound meditation, but it's
hmm
it's going to be partially guided. It's basically a shamanic journey with sacred sound,
hmm
which I play flutes, crystal bowls, gongs,
Right.
chimes,
And it's
various
amazing.
instruments.
It is so good. And it's like in sound, it's like I don't know, there's just some every once in a while, it's like when I listen to my music in the background, every once in a while there's the song. It's like a few months ago the song was playing. I listened to it many times before, and then all of a sudden I hear it in the background and something within me just like so totally ignited.
Hmm.
And it's like with the sound, especially with the sound healing, what you do, you have the bowls and all kinds of things, and it's yeah, it's amazing. I know I did one of them with you a long time ago, and it was so incredible because it's like when you're in there, and you just go with the experience. It is amazing what comes through and what you see and experience and feel. It's I don't know, it's just something about this the sound. It's like the frequency of the sound. It's just
Yeah.
whew, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, sound, and frequency, sound, vibration, resonance, all of those things work together. And, since we are all made up of the same material, these frequencies can vibrate. I'll use that term, vibrate or resonate within the body that
Mm-hmm.
opens up pathways, in our mind, in our brain that create the receiver that we are. We're both transmitters and receivers of energy,
Right.
right? And frequencies. That's why sometimes you're around people and you're like, oh man, I don't like this person, and you don't know
Oh, you
why.
go
They
you
didn't
go
do
in a
anything.
room. You go in a
Oh, in a
room and you
room.
feel that energy, and it's like, oh, let me out of
So yeah,
here.
everybody has its that capability. Cops, they say,
Right.
his gut instinct and stuff like it's all the same stuff. We all have the ability to receive these things. And
hmm
when you're working with sound, there are sounds that make you relax. There's sounds that stimulate you. There's sounds that make you fearful. There are, you know what I mean? And depending on how they're used, they can, and if you use them, I'll say in a good manner with an intent to release an emotion that
Right.
may be holding you back. And it could be anger. And all of a sudden you feel really angry at something. And it's like, don't fight it. Go, okay, what is it? What in my mind? What does this relate to? What is it? What's popping into my mind that it reminds me of? And then
Right.
you can basically address it. at
Right.
that point, and finding the roots of it, and then finally releasing it. Like tonight's meditation is about connecting with your spirit guides.
Mm-hmm.
Having communication or communion with your spirit guides. You know, I mean, and the tent is only positive. Only positive energy, that type of thing. Only beings that are in attune to God's light and love. That
Right.
we don't want to bring in negativity, because some people who have a negative nature can have negative guides
Right.
or attachments. I
Right.
wouldn't even call them guides. I'll say attachments. And what we're doing
I think
is
attachment is a good is a gooder
a
word.
better, yeah, yeah, a gooder.
Gooder is a word. I like the word gooder because it's funner.
Yeah. I tripped and fell in the gooder. No.
I mean, it happens,
Yeah.
Life is good. So I have
Yeah.
a question. What has
Yeah.
your own healing journey taught you that no teacher or tradition could?
Is listening to your heart. Is listening, the answers aren't always from without,
Hmm.
right? They can make sense of some of the things you feel on the inside, because then you can describe it. But it's feeling, is trusting that inner voice,
Hmm.
right? When you feel it coming from your heart, right? Because the heart, they've done a lot of tests, has neurons, and they're believing they actually have more neurons than the brain. Now,
Right.
because the brain only works on the data, you know, that's fed into it,
Hmm.
what it's been taught into, what we experience. And sometimes we experience things not in the way it was intended. So we are not seeing it for the truth of what it could be, but from compilation of all our other experiences, deciding what it is in the moment, which might not
Right.
be a correct analysis. But your heart and your gut feel it on energetic field,
Right.
right?
And they
A
always tell the
quantum,
truth. That's what I tell my
yes,
clients, when I do
a,
the quantum
a
healing
quantum
hypnosis,
field. Yeah.
I tell them it's like, okay, the very first thing that comes through from your heart or from your gut, this is your answer. It's
Yeah.
like as soon as it goes in your head and you start analyzing, that's your ego.
Oh yeah. And that, when you start getting into your head, it's going into those false beliefs believed to be true.
Right.
Those types of things. Fears. It allows fears to take over.
Hmm.
Um, or uncomfortableness. Most people want to be just comfortable,
Right.
and there's nothing wrong with being comfortable, but you need to shake it up some. You don't get anywhere if you just stay in the comfortable state.
Well, I mean, they say there's nothing is more dangerous than the comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know?
And well, yeah, and safety zone.
Right.
The comfort zone is generally what we consider a lot of times the safety zone.
Hmm.
We all love to be safe in our life, but no one is guaranteed to get out of this life alive.
What?
Right.
What?
So and we all have that thing of wanting to be safe and comfortable,
Right.
but the universe won't tolerate that generally, unless that's what you're here to experience, right?
Hmm.
Some people are here to have it easy, and everything falls into their laps because and I'll say we'll go into past life stuff. In a past life, they may have had the absolute opposite, and they said, "I need to experience this other life of
Hmm.
luxury and
Yep.
peace." And so all of it is a learning experience, and we agree to most of the stuff that goes on in our life before we get here. When we're in
Oh, we
spirit,
do.
we
And I see
agree to.
this so much with my clients when I do the QHHT sessions. It's like it's so amazing what comes through like their past life experiences, and it's like
Mhm.
how it plays a role in this life, to make sense of things that are happening in this life. It is so incredible. I love it.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and it's not always easy to go with the flow of things,
No,
you
it's
know, because
not. And
uh,
sometimes it's so uncomfortable, but you know what? You look at the big picture, you look at out in the distance, it's like, man, this is where I want to go. And you go that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
that terminology popped in my head, where it says work smarter, not harder.
Hmm.
Well,
Right?
sometimes the smart thing is like, if you're starting something, is to allow, not to keep trying to tweak it, is to allow it to unfold and see what happens.
Right. It's
right?
like, it's like with this podcast here, with the
Yeah.
whole Memphis podcast, it's like I just like, you know what? I feel like this is something that I need to do. Not should do, not want to do. It's like I really felt like this needs to be done. And I was like, I
Hmm.
have no idea where this is going, what we're doing, and it's really, but it's like this feels good. This feels right. You know, is it uncomfortable? You betcha.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun, and I get
Yeah.
to talk to people, and it's just like, and we learn together, we grow together, and I love that. So, speaking of fear, how do you work with fear, with yours or someone else's, without trying to fix it?
That's not always easy.
No,
Because we all have fear. I have fear. I have plenty of fear. I think I have a master's degree in fear.
I
Uh,
think we all do. I think to some degree we all do.
yeah, but I'm not working on my doctorate. Okay.
Oh, hey, me neither. Oh, wait, I got it.
um, yeah, you got it. Yeah. Um, well, one of the workshops I did many years ago, they say to use fear as a motivator, right? When you're fearing something, then go investigate what
Hmm.
that is, why that fear came up, right? And it's not about self-judgment. It's about
No.
literally examination, right? Meaning you take the emotion out of that
Hmm.
energy and you look at it and say, what can this teach me? What door is this opening for me when I look at this and when I ask questions about it? And that's a lot of times with ourselves. Why am I holding myself back? Why am I procrastinating? Now, sometimes says some people also they go, well, I'm procrastinating because I'm waiting for the right moment and the right people to show up, right? And so they don't do anything
Right.
instead of keep working on the self and watching a podcast or something where they learn more. They're just sitting on the couch doing absolutely nothing,
And waiting. Well,
right?
right. And my thing is, it's like, no, you just go. You adjust course as you go, but you go. It's like when they shoot a rocket to the moon, and I forgot, I read somewhere it readjusts itself a bazillion times to keep going in the direction it's supposed to go.
Right. Yes, they have those little attitude jets, and it's a
Right.
great word,
I
attitude jets,
love
right?
that.
To steer you back onto course,
Right.
right? Now, Spirit told me, stop with the plans. Stop making plans. Have an outline of what you'd like, not the exact outcome,
Right.
but where you'd like to get, because they don't want to create a limitation. So, if you outline something that you'd like to happen and you have an idea in your mind, but don't set it in stone because you might not be shooting the right distance. There might be
Right.
something greater for you, but if you go, oh, I achieved what I wanted, and you stop, and there was so
Hmm.
much more that would bring you to that, I guess, sense of peace,
Right.
um, or achievement or whatever it is. You know, it's you have an idea, you start the motion, and you have room to adjust. An outline has you can add and subtract, but a plan is almost like you're making a contract with yourself.
Hmm.
And if you make that contract, you're afraid to break any part of it. Because that would divert the pathway. But when you have an outline, you can move stuff and add and subtract.
Hmm.
It has the attitude jets to steer you to
I
what you're
love that.
supposed to achieve.
Right. See, and I always say it's like I'm going in that direction, and I put my arms wide that
Yeah,
way.
I
No,
like that
instead of
too. Yeah,
this way, I'm going that way. And whatever comes along the way, it's like I might have this. This is like, oh, this is what I want. But then
yeah,
along the way, I discover it's like, oh, that's part of what I want. And I just keep like, this is fun. Let's keep going.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we always limit ourselves,
Right. Well, and a lot has to
and
do with the fear of the
yeah,
unknown.
yeah,
We pay attention to all the people. It's like when I say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and people's like, oh, you can't do that, and I was like, I wouldn't be able to do that, and da 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 da, and I was like, okay, that's why you're not doing it. I'm doing it.
right.
you
Well,
know. But
it's
people come
it's
from their own fear, and they try to talk you out of
yeah.
things because of their own fears.
Well, it's yes, definitely. We're afraid of the dark.
Right.
The stuff that's we can't see. right? Like in the beginning, right? There was nothing, right? It was darkness. It was the void. There was no light. There was nothing,
Right.
right? And if you go into the biblical thing and said, and then there was light, all right? Meaning in native traditions, in the shamanic work, the void, the great void, is the place where creation begins. It has
Hmm.
all the elements, it has all the ingredients for creation in it. So when we're afraid of the dark, we're afraid of creating something. We're afraid, we want it set in stone in front of us. We want someone else to do it. But the universe, they talk about the shadow side of the self. That's, shadows like darkness,
Right.
and all it is the uncompleted parts of ourselves, or fragments of parts
Hmm.
that are waiting to be put together to create something new,
Right.
right? Or to make oneself whole again. Because sometimes when we're traumatized, we hide some of that trauma, we bury it so that we can carry on, so it doesn't affect us. But eventually, that missing part is important, and we need to bring it home again with
Right.
the understanding of why that happened and
Mhm.
what tool it has for us to move past it.
Right.
And that's
Well, they
where,
say
like
what
in
you
the shamanic
resist
work, soul
persists, it
retrieval.
doesn't go away. The
No,
pain, the feeling, everything, you can bury it, you can ignore it for a while, but it doesn't go away. It showed up to teach you something, you know.
exactly,
And
exactly.
I always tell my clients too, and it's like, the way this works is like there comes the universe, God, whatever you believe in, and it's like, look, here's a lesson for you. Do you want it? And you're like, no, I don't want it. No, you poo poo on it, and it's like you ignore it. Here's the thing, it goes away for a little while, but it doesn't really go away.
No,
It finds a
no,
friend and it comes back, and then it says, look, I'm back
and
and
it's
I brought a
bigger.
friend.
Yes, yeah. It's like having my drink here, then all of a sudden I put my in my, earbuds
Exactly. And every
right
time
on
you
top of
ignore
it.
it and it goes away, it will come back. I guarantee you, it will come back and it will be heavier and heavier and heavier until you have no choice.
Well, that's one of the things that comes up often when I'm doing readings is with people, like when a number six shows up for me. Now,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily the meaning of the numerology, but when six shows up to me, it's a karma number, and
Right.
it's about relationships with close friends and family generally, right? But when six comes up, it says you've actually in this lifetime taken care of the big karma, right? But we see sometimes the crumbs, and I use an analogy of like you made dough, right? And you have a big Hobart mixer, and you make this big dough, and you made like 20 loaves of bread with it. Now,
Right.
those 20 loaves of bread are not going to be identical when they come out of the oven, right? Think of that as human beings. You have brothers and sisters. You all came from the same source, mom and dad's, sperm and egg, right? But you're not identical when you come out, but you were
Right.
mixed together with the same ingredients, right? You cooked at a different time period. Right? So there's another
Oh, is that what the bun in the
personality.
oven comes from?
Yeah, that's exactly where it comes from. No, I'm kidding.
Couldn't resist that one.
You did it. You get a cookie.
Yay!
Well, but those loaves of bread are there now. If you cut them all up and slice them into slices and slip them into the bag, right, and you send them out for delivery, none of them are identical,
Right.
right? But think of that as the karma. You've broken up the big karma and you've dispersed it now to wherever it brings balance in the universe. All right. Now you've got all these crumbs and you sweep them together, and all of a sudden you have a pile that's sitting this big on that table the way you cut up all the bread. That's the remainder of the karma. But it looks so big. It's the mountain out of the molehill. You're going, oh my God, look how much I still have to work. But almost all of that is air in between it. And not only that, it's all related, meaning whatever problems you have in life have a relationship with a lot of other things that you've experienced, meaning you have the tools present in your life, you're just not recognizing them because they look a little different. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Hmm.
So they're saying, like, for instance, with that number six, and you got karma. Now, if you had an argument with a friend and you're no longer friends, and it could have been a stupid argument, it doesn't matter. Spirit says this isn't, when we work on this, it's not about mending the relationship. It's not allowing it to stay in the dark and fester. It's bringing it to the light. So you have to face it and come to terms with it. This happened. It might not ever improve. We might separate the rest of our lives. But once you acknowledge that energy, it can never hold you back completely.
Hmm.
as if it was stuffed inside of you. You know, that's why they say, we get sick. I ended up having a heart attack because of a heartache, a loss, right? Spirit
Hmm.
told me, I was like, man, I'm doing everything right. I eat well, I stay in shape, I exercise, I do all these things, and I have a massive heart attack, right? Spirit, and I said, what was that from? And they said, John, you have a broken heart.
Hmm.
You will get better when you come to terms with the ending of a
Yeah.
relationship, or even just the change in the
Mhm.
relationship, that you
Oh
will
yeah,
start to
and
function
yep,
at a higher vibration again,
yep. And it's so true.
instead
It's
of.
like I have this book. It's called "Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die,"
Hmm.
and I refer to it not daily, but at least 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah,
It's like whether for myself or for clients, whenever they have a physical condition, that gives you the list of the feelings and emotions related to that. And when I
yeah.
read that, either for myself or for my clients, their jaws drop, their eyes got big, and they're like, "Oh my God."
Well, it's a lot like the emotion code,
Right. It's
and
all connected. It's
yeah,
all
it is.
connected.
It is. These are the crumbs. They come from the same source, so they are interrelated. There's
Hmm.
nothing that happens in your life and that you experience that doesn't have a connection with something else that is part of creation, right?
Yep.
Part of another person, part of a thought process, whatever. So there are always threads. That's why the universe is a web of energy. And when you're in the right place and at the right time and in the right frame of mind, the energy, the insight, the aha will show up if you're ready for it.
Right.
And you still have a
Absolutely.
choice at that point to accept or reject it. But if you're really looking to progress and to be at peace with yourself, you're going to say, all right, I get it. I understand. Yeah. And that's when we feel lighter and we feel more in balance and we feel more in tune with things.
Hmm.
So when things aren't going right, what are we resisting? What are we, what's going on? Right. And ask that question in a meditation. I always like to say, well, no matter where you are, create a sacred circle around. You can picture a circle wrapped around you where only the positive energy and, divine guidance or your guides, whatever, can come through with something that's going to benefit your soul,
Right.
and you ask the question and what pops up, and it might be ridiculous stuff. Write it down. If people are writers, write all that stuff down when you're doing this work, because you're going to start to find similarities, and then you get some insights, and then you get ahas, and then let your imagination run rampant.
Funny you bring up imagination. How do you personally distinguish between intuition and imagination?
Well, they're related. You can't have inspiration without imagination, right?
Okay.
Because that imagination is your connection with source,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because imagination creates without an idea popping into your head, which if it pops in your head, that's part of your imagination working, right?
Right.
You can say it's a subconscious energy. It's not in the conscious mind. It only floats up into the conscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
What about,
there's,
go ahead.
go ahead.
What about intuition?
Well, you know, intuition, I think, is like, because we are all receivers and transmitters of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frequencies. That the intuition is the information coming at a specific time for a specific reason. It's like I'm here for a thing, and all of a sudden, I'm not supposed to go to this place. My intuition says stay away, right? Because in a sense, we are preordained for certain events to go on in our lives so that we can learn.
Right.
And if that would divert us from our path, the intuition will say yay or nay. If we're supposed to go that way or not go that way, the intuition is going to give us a signal.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's to go slow and pay attention. Like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to not do this, but I feel wary. So that means just to pay attention and look around and absorb the interactions of the people or the energies around it,
Mm-hmm.
right? and then you can make a decision through here.
Right.
The gut says just pay attention.
Right. Well, I was
So,
just going to say, so intuition and your gut instinct is pretty
well,
much the same thing.
yeah, that I'll say they're twins.
Hmm.
I can never say they're identical twins,
Right.
but they work. Let's just say they hold hands with each other.
Hmm. And I always tell my clients too, it's like always listen to your gut, always listen to your intuition because it never steers you wrong. But we're so conditioned to poo-poo on it and ignore it and rationalize it away,
Well,
and that usually gets us in trouble. I mean, it got me in trouble many times.
yeah, I tell people all the time, your intuition is tapped into the unified field, the quantum field of energy, the divine energy and stuff like that. Um, our brains, like I said, works on data. Whatever's been put into it, whatever we observed, whatever we've heard, we agree with some of it, and it might be incorrect. It might only be partial truth. But until we
Mhm.
get more information and converse with people with different ideas, right, we get slanted left or right, or and spirit has been really adamant to say, to talk to people and to take the middle road and not to get so far left or so far right, is to listen and to
Mhm.
observe, right, and feel from the heart. Most times we're feeling from up in the brain, right? Which there's so much misinformation being pumped into us.
Right.
So coming back down into heart and the gut are the most important things, especially at this time period. But if you keep thinking from up here, saying I am going through my heart, but your brain is being, "Argh," and getting the anger coming out, it's like, no, you're leaving it in the brain and you're
Hmm.
sending it to the heart, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
rejecting it.
like, hmm
And,
yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah,
why
absolutely.
quiet meditation, you know, uh, and just sometimes just sitting and being and not getting so caught up. Like I have a lot of spiritual friends who are so wise, are so caught up in some of the I'll say information that's out there that I feel in my heart is a lie,
So they
is
got
the
lost in the
twist,
sauce, huh?
getting lost in the sauce. And but and parts of them understand that, but they're so against what they believe, what they're perceiving, right, that they're not allowing themselves to be.
Right.
And one of the things is that all of us need to take time for just ourselves, to sit
Mm.
on the back, steps, the porch, or walk in the park, not talking to anybody, and commune and give thanks to what's around us, right? And clear out thoughts of the worries of what the world is turning into.
Well, I
You
mean, the
know,
biggest thing is for us is to become still.
well, that's it. That's just
Just
being.
become still. Just be in the moment. And it's like I tell people, a very fast
It's
thing you can
hard.
do is just put your hands on your heart, close your eyes, and pay attention to your heartbeat. Gets you
Yeah,
centered, gets you grounded, gets you right back into right now.
yeah, and that's where heart math, breathing through the heart.
Right.
And you picture a time when you felt loved or very happy, and you take that energy and you breathe in and out,
Mm-hmm.
and you create a breathing like what is it, like the circular breathing or the four
Right.
four type breath, um,
Yeah, I
where
mean
you're
it's
breathing,
powerful. I love it.
right, because the heart math talks about the heart brain coherence.
Right.
And
So, okay, go ahead.
so breathing, whatever it is, whether it's the 4-4 breathing, the 2-4-6-8 breathing, and
Or just
all these,
breathing, just focus on your breath, breathing in, breathing
yeah,
out.
and
You
breathing
know,
in
it's
love and
it's
breathing out love,
I like
breathing
that.
in peace, breathing
I
out
love
peace,
that. Hey, I have
mixing
a
them up.
question.
Yeah.
What question do you wish people would ask you, but rarely do?
Oh gosh.
I know, right?
Thank you for asking that. Because I never really put any thought into that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like a lot of the work when I do is I work to find, the life path energy of finding that what we do that brings us peace within our own heart,
Hmm.
right? That's what I consider life path, not jobs. Jobs can be a part of a life path,
Right.
but exploring the self, and I tell people right up in the beginning, what the information I get for you is for, the homework and stuff is so that you can understand yourself better, where you can find peace, because we're always trying to please others and we're putting energy out there to others. And we have to do ourselves first, and love ourselves first, and find peace and forgive ourselves and all these things. And once we get to that point, then we can see what resonates with us. Because if we're
Hmm.
always projecting it outward, we can't receive. It's the balance of giving and receiving, right? Most of us are great givers, but we're horrendous at receiving. Oh, I can do it
Oh, we're
myself.
awful at asking for help. I know I'm guilty of that. I'm
Yeah,
like,
me too. I'm a lot better
yeah.
than I was in a lot of that
Yes.
aspect,
I
but
mean, for me, it was I didn't have a choice, but it's like, but that was a hard lesson to learn. Again, the universe is like, hey, you know what? Here you go. Here's
well,
your lesson.
that's the thing, is that the universe sometimes will give you no choice.
Right.
Like when
Well,
I'm not
because
listening
because
and I'm
it came and you ignored it and it goes away and it brings friends.
right. Well, sometimes it's too, is that they say you need to take care of yourself, but I've
Hmm.
got so much to do. I want
I
to do
know,
this, I
right?
want to do that, or I don't want to do it.
Hmm.
I resist it.
Right.
Like
And
you
here's
said,
one
what
thing
you
I
resist,
learned.
you persist.
Be careful what you say because words are powerful. Careful what you ask for. Because a couple of years ago, I kept saying, oh my God, I'm physically, mentally exhausted. I need a break. Guess what happened? I broke both of
You
my
both
ankles.
right. Well, yeah. I was supposed to
That
leave
sucked, but
when I was a cop. They gave me 3 years to make up my mind, right, to leave.
hmm
And I was like single dad and everything else, raising my son. And I chose. I said I've got only 8 years to early retirement. I The first 10 went really quick. Um, I'm gonna I can stick it out.
right.
And I kept being told, no, it's time to go. It's time to go. Time to go. Well, I refused, and I had a warning. A final warning says, John, if you don't go, you're going to get the size 12 boot up your ass. And that's, they sent my
And
grandfather
whoop,
to call
there it
for me.
is.
And then I had the spinal injury,
Right. Yeah, I
right?
mean it's
Yeah, which made me sit still, which made me not do it. When I was refusing to let go of an emotion, I get a heart attack. I'm stubborn. I, sometimes I know what I want, but that's not always what's best for me,
right.
or in the right timing of things.
Hmm.
And the
Again,
universe will,
listen to your gut because your gut was telling you,
yeah,
but your ego was telling you something different. And we a lot of times we follow the ego because
right. Well,
it's part of what
because
we're
where's the
conditioned.
ego resides in our brain, um,
Darn it. Get evicted
right? And we're
already. Sheesh.
right. You know, not everything that is good for one person would be good for another person.
Right. Yeah,
You know, it,
absolutely.
it so it's that if you just be, like you were saying, sometimes we have to just be. That's when you find out what really resonates,
Hmm.
what you
Yep.
really want. Me, I being rich was never my goal. I'd like to be rich, but at the same time, that's not my motivator.
Right.
My motivation is to just to have happiness in myself, and to create the opportunity for others to find happiness within themselves,
I love it. See,
right? To
that's why
find
we're
that,
connected because happiness matters.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Um,
I have a
so
couple more questions real quick.
yeah, well, I've got
Okay.
plenty of time.
I know, but this we can't do. I mean, I could talk to you all day for every day.
You
Okay.
make 2 episodes, you break them up.
There's that. So, real quick, what would you say to someone who feels different and doesn't know where they belong yet?
Honor it.
Honor it. Good
Honor it.
answer.
I feel different. I don't feel like I belong
Mm-hmm.
um, even when I'm with people who are like-minded, I always feel I'm different. I always
Okay.
feel a separation in a sense. There's nothing I can really do about that.
Mm-hmm.
I can only be what I am.
I love that.
And
Good
so,
answer.
well, I mean, I don't have a choice with
Right.
that. because I try, we try to fit in, we try to do this and we try to do that.
Yep.
There were very few people where I felt like I was 100% at home with, where
Mm.
I vibrated. There were a couple people that I've had in my life, but they were in and out very quickly for some reason.
Oh, you
Because
know,
maybe they didn't feel they resonated like I did with them. You know what I mean? It
hmm
might have been their path to experience a discord,
right.
where my path
Okay.
wasn't that with them.
Right.
But that was also teaching me that no matter how much I feel like I'm connected with this particular person or group, is that it's temporary.
Right. Well, because
Like
we're all
life.
here on our own journey,
Yes,
you know.
exactly.
So I mean, we agreed to walk the path together for a while. Maybe a short
Yeah.
while, maybe a long while, or whatever, but essentially it's our own individual journey and our own path.
And that person who doesn't feel like they fit in or whatever, right? What was the question? How was that question done again? So I want to,
Oh, what would you say to someone who feels different and doesn't know where they belong yet?
you are a sacred rebel.
Ooh, I like
That,
that card deck. That's a card deck too. I
yes,
love that.
yes, that's what I was bringing up. The card deck. You are a sacred rebel, right?
Love it.
That means you're not meant to fit in. You're not
Right,
meant to follow someone else's idea of what's you're supposed to do or be and all that type of thing.
right.
Is
And
is it's
and I
about
have to say, it's like for so long, I tried to fit in, and I was shooting all over myself. It's like, I should do this, I should do this, so I fit in because as humans, we want to belong,
Mhm.
but what we end up doing is we chisel away from ourselves. And for me, it was like I was miserable until I finally said, you know what, enough.
Well, the one thing that we all belong to when we're in this physical body is the human race.
Right,
So you are belonging just exactly the way you are,
right.
right? And then, we with all the different experiences, and when we integrate them, or release some of the ones that don't work,
Yep.
right? We're growing. Our
hmm
energetic field is growing. On
Yep.
the spiritual level, we are connecting even greater to the whole at that point. But in the physical form here, we have to have those discordant notes,
Right. Love
right?
that.
Because that we can't be complacent
Right.
for
And
any
I mean,
real long
here's the
period.
thing, it's like because we are one. We're like that drop of water in the ocean. We all
Yeah,
belong to the one thing. We all are one. We just all have our own individual experience, but whatever we do as an individual affects everything and everybody
the
everywhere.
ripples. Yep,
Right.
exactly.
And it's like once I understood that, I was like, whoa. So,
Well,
but
and that's a concept, that's hard because we could put it into our brain, and our brain, in this physical form is too limited. It can't see the big picture
right,
because
right,
the divine force, the creative force in the universe, um, works on a different logic. I call it like in economics. It works on the macro. We
hmm
work on a micro. So how can you understand the macro if you
right.
think in a micro,
Well, I mean, they
right?
say our conscious mind, our ego mind, is operates at 40 bits per second. The
Right.
universe and everything else is 40 million bits per second. Question is, which computer would you rather work with?
Right.
It comes down to a choice.
Or which one are you confined to work with? So
Right.
you have to, because within those 40 bits also has a connection to the 400 million bits,
Of course, because it's all
right? So
connected. It's just
because
the crumb. It's like the cake is over here and you're dealing with the crumb over here.
yeah,
But
right.
yeah. Anyway,
you know, and that's just about when you become still, you're able to have a more direct
right.
connection where you're not
I
as
love that.
limited. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. John, I can talk to you all day long. So
We need to do this again.
we will. We will. Maybe we do a show again together. You never
Yes.
know. You never
That was,
know.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
hey, if
never
people
know.
want to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
Okay. Well, you can look up on Facebook, John Thunderheart Robinson. I run the Inner Light Center in Colorado Springs. You can look up the Inner Light Center. Also, the website is theinnerlightweb.com. I'm not always great on updating. I try. I'm not a techie. I affect electronics, so it's a challenge. You can call me at my work number and leave a message at 719-351-7596. I do, phone readings and stuff like that. And I'm trying to figure a way to do the sound stuff where I have good quality sound. I don't know how to do that quite yet. I'm trying to work with some
Actually, your
people.
sound is pretty good right now.
Right, but when you actually play instruments and stuff, there
Oh
are
yeah,
filters
that's.
with some of the things that you don't get the full effect.
Mm-hmm.
Because they take out sometimes the lower frequencies and the very high frequencies.
Gotcha.
And when you're playing certain instruments, you're not getting the resonance and the
Mm-hmm.
vibration as it's being
Okay.
played live.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
something out there. And hey, if any of our listeners, viewers, have any ideas,
No.
reach out to John, give him some tips how to
Yeah.
do that, you know? So anyway, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Anytime. I will
Yeah.
have you anytime. So thank you. And hey guys, tune in for the next episode. No idea yet who that will be or what we'll talk about, but we'll figure it out. Until then, have a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening to Home of Misfits by Matters of Perspective. You belong.